F1 2021, where the bad tracks are good and the good tracks are bad. We are back for the Styrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring. I'm joined once again with Tom and with Manor. Or Nick. Apologies, Nick.
Good evening.
Either or.
Yeah, either or.
I mean, in your defence, it does say Manor House in big writing on the screen right now.
It does. And it's hard to switch between calling you Manor on Gran Turismo Sport and Nick on the podcast. It's getting harder to do too.
Yeah. Yeah, your two is easy.
Yeah, just pick your name.
No probs. Yeah.
So, Styrian Grand Prix, what did all think? Good? Bad? We thought that Verstappen would probably stay ahead, I think. We said last week.
We did say that, yep.
You did.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I disagreed.
I
thought if it was dry that Hamilton would win. And that was wrong.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that. Nick, you could have got away with it.
Nah, gotta be fair.
Yeah, we were letting you away with that. Red Bull dominance, I guess we'd say, in the race and qualifying.
Not much to... Well, there are plenty of things to talk about, but as a race goes, it was mediocre, I would say, in a word.
Bring back Spain. That's all I'm saying. Catalonia, you've won me over. Finally.
Yeah, was Paul Ricard more interested in this? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was, yeah.
it was.
Still, it's okay. We're going again next week.
Yes. With softer tyres though, so at least there's an extra ingredient thrown in the mix.
Is there any more threats of rain for next week?
Oh my god. It was guaranteed rain all 3 days and it never came.
Got 3 drops the whole weekend.
Exactly.
We said it was going to be dry, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah. But he's got the weather right.
Yeah. Come to us instead of Ted Kravitz.
Oh, please, please do.
Well, I just guessed and it was correct.
They were showing an ominous dark cloud hanging over the pit building towards the end, but it never comes to anyone when they do that.
No.
So
I think that was just following Toto.
yeah. So I guess we'll cover the news first, going into the weekend. Big bit of news about pit stops, which are going to be slowed down from Hungary onwards. A few teams have complained and the FIA are worried about safety. And they're concerned that teams are relying on sensors rather than human judgment. And so therefore pit stops are going to be slowed down to make sure that it is a human judgment and there's no mistakes made. And I just think that humans make more mistakes than computers, but that's just me. It seems...
But it's the humans that program the computers.
Yeah, I see. You're far enough back, it's always humans. But to me, it just seems like an obvious ploy to try and slow Red Bull down, because it's not like there's been incidents recently that's prompted this. It just seems like Red Bull are a second quicker than everyone else. Let's bring that back a bit.
Which I think is a bit of a shame, because I'm not obsessed with pit stop times. I understand that purists might be annoyed by the quick pit stops, I guess, but part of it is a team show, and being quick at pit stops shows to the world who aren't really interested in Formula 1 just how much of a team effort it can be. And also Red Bull, I've got something, and that's kind of the whole shtick about Formula 1, isn't it? That you can just develop and become better. So it takes away from that, I guess. If there's a safety aspect, it's got to be safe.
Was that apparently in the rules already, it does state that it has to be human and not sensors.
Well, that's different then, isn't it? That's a different argument. I believe
it was to clamp down on it. That was just going from comments made by Andreas Seidel.
Right.
He said that this is already in the regulations and this is to make sure they're being followed.
I see.
But yeah, I don't see a problem with the sensor side of things if it's done properly and safely.
Yeah.
If they can prove that, I don't see a problem.
So that's a bit of a hint at potentially some team that's very quick is not within the rules or within the letter of the law.
Yeah.
It's probably an interpretation thing, right?
Yeah, Christian Horner was asked about it the weekend, is there a sensor? And his reply was, well, it's always a human that has to let it go.
Yeah, he didn't really answer it, did he?
No, which makes me think there is a sensor, and it's probably a green light or something that pops up somewhere that lets him go. And that's probably, I can't imagine it'll be illegal, but it's probably not quite fitting in with the rules.
Yeah.
But
they'll find a way, though.
Yeah, if you put a Red Bull hat on, then there's been 2 real clarifications in recent weeks, which has affected them more than anyone else. Or supposed to have affected them more than anyone else. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem to have with the flexi rear wings.
Well, that Honda engine is very, very strong anyway, so I don't think the wings was too
Yeah.
much of a... It was a nice little bonus for them, wasn't it? Probably only works on the extra long straights, really. Whereas this could affect every pit stop. That's a couple a race maybe, or 1 a race. Or, well, 2, because at least you've got 2 drivers, right?
Yeah, that's true. Although Perez's stops always seem to be a bit slower somehow.
Ah, yeah, funny that, isn't it?
Get your
Yeah, I don't think it's deliberate, but
get your tinfoil hats off. Every driver is equal, as we know.
I know, I agree. It just seems a bit.
Yeah, it always happens to him. A couple of
Mind you, it's probably because his tyres have been on for so long.
Yeah, that's true.
other bits of news. Turkey is back this year, as Singapore has dropped off again.
Turkey's on and off, on off, on off. It's on now.
As
Is it October?
yeah, when it might be a bit cold and wet again.
Ooh, yeah.
And I doubt that surface is rubbered in from all the hire cars to park on it all year. So
Probably not.
no, so it could be another interesting one then. And Sochi is gone from 2023 onwards. Tom,
Such a shame.
I know. Tom, you did mention this track that we're eventually going to be going in 2023 a few episodes ago.
Allegedly. I can't remember which episode it was, but I swear we talked about the alternative Russian tracks.
But
I've definitely watched some touring car racing on it. So
it's almost
quite
like
good.
someone in FIA is listening.
Wow, that could be our 4th listener.
Exactly.
It could be.
But yes,
Sean Top. Shout out.
yeah. Sochi gone. Are we sad?
What's
No.
Sochi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never enjoyed driving it or watching it.
No. I'll be honest, I know nothing about this new track apart from Nick, you sent us a video
Yeah.
of a car going around it. And apart from that, I know nothing.
Plus, it will be different from that anyway. They just announced they're adding an extra kilometre to the track.
Oh, right. Well, it's new, isn't it? And it's kind
yes,
of
and it
generic
is.
with asphalt runoffs, but it should be better than Sochi.
Yeah, they seem to be adding a whole section at the end,
Oh, right.
which goes in an elevation change as well. It's sort of meant to be
Okay.
like a banked final series of corners that go up quite high and down again.
What's with the whole resurgence of banked corners?
Yeah,
Like Zandvoort, the Yas Marina, that one of those changes
Oh,
is
yes,
going to be
that's
slightly
true.
banked.
Mm-hmm.
Then potentially on here, I mean, did we not learn a lesson with the Indianapolis banking and tire gate?
that was excessive banking though, to be fair.
Yeah, true. And it is quite cool to have a banked corner.
But yeah, I withhold judgment on this track till I've seen proper racing on it.
Yeah. Weirdly, I watched some touring car racing around it, and then I can't find that video anymore. It's been removed.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
All I can find from that race is like a crash from the first corner. Bit odd. But it was a TCR Russia race anyway.
I'm just worried about what track Valtteri Bottas is going to get to deliver his famous catchphrase at when Sochi's no longer on the calendar.
Was that a win yet this year, right? So
it's 2023, so will he still even be here?
Very true.
oh,
Very, very true.
Been a Williams.
Yeah. He's finished P19, to whom it may concern. Poor Valtteri.
When he beats Latifi.
Yeah. You mentioned it there. Yasmarina track's getting a few tweaks to it for this year's race. They are removing the chicane first sector to make the hairpin going in a long straight a possible overtaking place. And then they are
Yay.
removing the only other overtaking places on the track
Boo.
and replacing it with just a sweeping left-hander.
A mid-speed sweeping banked left-hander.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't really like that chicaney bit it's replacing, so that's good. Oh, actually, more to the point, it was a 90-degree left after that, which you could never seem to... No one... yeah, what was the point of that?
Well, they're rounding off all those corners as well through that section. So they're making them slightly easier, I think.
Oh yeah, but the hotel.
Yeah. So they're rounding them off slightly more.
around there.
Yeah, so they're less 90 degrees.
Well, they were never overtaking positions anyway, so it
No.
doesn't really matter.
But it seemed...
A lot of the drivers seem enthusiastic about the changes, even the one that takes away the potential overtaking place. So
Oh, okay. They're like, yes, something different, not this.
possibly, yeah.
Alonso, it's just for Alonso, isn't it? Right?
Well, yeah, he's the one who was most excited about it. To be fair.
Ah. There we go then.
It's a bit, yeah, we'll see. It's not a track I like, so
Yeah, we're gonna see.
anything that changes it might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Nick, you have any more news coming out the weekend?
There was one thing came out today about the F1 sprint races. That it will be the winner of the sprint race who is declared the pole position holder in terms of record books.
But not the pole position holder.
He'll be the pole position holder for the feature race. If you see what I mean, he'll be the winner of the sprint race, not the person who comes highest in qualifying.
Qualified. So, yeah, so the pole position holder is not the pole position holder. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing that. It was an extra race, so
It's something different. It's good for you as a spectator.
exactly. I don't have to watch
What?
Porsche Super Cup practice that day. I can actually watch a race.
Here's the thing. The qualifying session, is that... I can't remember what format the qualifying session's in.
Normal format
Right.
moved to Friday.
That's the one thing I think should have been... If they're going to try this, have a shorter qualifying session and then include the sprint race as part of qualifying. I don't think we need Q3, Q2, Q1 and a sprint race to set the grid for the main race.
I disagree because I quite like it now
Ooh.
because people keep making a complete arse of it at the
Yeah, but
moment.
Q1 is just a fight for 2 positions or 1 position.
You think all the red flags you'll miss out if you take that away.
Yeah. Think of those times when someone's mucked up. I'm thinking probably Vettel from the Ferrari days and has ended up going out in Q1. They're going to have to start at the back.
Yeah.
You know?
Not
You're
convinced.
just convinced.
Now, I'm fine with the qualifying format normally, so I'm not questioning that. But I am questioning 4 lots of qualifying for 1 race. Is it more qualifying than race when you add it up?
I do see what you mean, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. I'm open to it. Let's see what happens.
Again, I'm going to be watching it, so I'm quite happy.
Can you do a live podcast, please, from the track?
I don't know. Do you get phone signal in that?
It is in the middle of nowhere. That's a good
Wherever it
point.
is, the south of Northampton. So I don't know what.
Somewhere.
I don't know what shirt that is in England.
Yeah, I don't know where it is really. Even though I commute there twice a month.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either.
Just follow the Google Maps. You go down the M1 for forever. Then you come off the M1. You go down some dual carriageways for 10 minutes, and you get there. Anyway. Sorry, we're talking news.
News. Well, Silverstone's going to have a full crowd. That's the only other bit of news that I had, which is going to be nice. And I'm definitely going to get COVID that weekend, so that's good.
Yeah, get your rapid tests and your work booked off already.
Yeah. Oh, I need to take rapid tests while I'm down there.
Oh yeah, you have to get in, don't you?
Yeah, and good thing you're supposed to use the NHS app to get into the track, which you can't use because I'm from Scotland. So I need to find a print. I need to find a printer at some point the weekend to print off results.
Oh, that is weird.
Yeah, but that'll be fun.
Also, what I really don't hope happens is you go down day 1
And then I catch it.
you enter the you scan in with the NHS app, and then because it's a load of people in the area, basically if any single person basically has it, doesn't everybody with the app have to self-isolate?
Oh, I've not downloaded the English app for that. I'm not.
Oh, okay. But that could happen to a load of people there.
Yeah.
You could be the only person there on the Sunday.
Exactly. I want to be able to make it for the weekend, so I'm taking a budget test anyway to make sure. But yeah, so that'd be good to have a full crowd. There was 2,000 Scotland fans went down for the England game last week, and they've all come up and tested positive for it today.
Have they?
Yeah,
God.
2,000 people that went into London. So yeah,
I'm surprised they were let back in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to my dose of Corona. So
Can be brutal though, so let's hope it's all right for you.
I've
You're
had
all
a
good.
jack. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
So any more for the week? Going on the weekend?
No, there was just the whole Mazepin. Was it Gunther Steiner gave him a spinning top that was etched with the words Mazepin on?
Brilliant. Love it. There's even like an Instagram picture, isn't there? So
Yeah, it was deliberately put on social media to show he has a sense of humour.
yeah. Actually, do you know what? You're right. It feels a bit PR forced. It's like right. You need to just say that you're going to accept this joke, and then it'll disappear. That's our new strategy. Embrace it. Don't get annoyed by it. It will then But the main thing is not spinning on track.
Yeah, no, he has improved quite a lot actually in the last couple of races.
Yep.
Which I really didn't expect him to do, so fair play.
Yeah. I think that's it from the... I don't have any more news items.
No, I think that's it.
Okay, practice, and highlight of practice was Valtteri Bottas deciding to have a wee pirouette in the pit lane, almost wiping out the McLaren crew and getting himself a free pace penalty.
Do you think the penalty was just?
I thought he might get away with it, but how readily the FIA are clamping down on safety issues recently, it's a slam dunk, really.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised by a grid penalty, if I'm honest. But it was dangerous. But then, I don't know. But anyway, he was in second gear, wasn't he? And they were trying to get some more revs in there because they've had slow stops recently, or pulling away from stops. So that's, I think, the main reason why he's spanning the pit lane there. It all looks really slow and harmless until you watch the camera angle from on the ground in, is it like the McLaren pit box or something?
Yeah.
And you hear the tyres screeching, and you're like, oh yeah, that's still quite quick, isn't it?
Yeah. It's probably about 40 miles an hour or something as he's coming home now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is a fair penalty. It's harsh, but it probably needed to be done to stop anyone else doing things like that. But yeah, it's just so unusual to see as well.
It is weird, but also it was a mountain out of a molehill. I'm over it.
Yep. Q1, and the only scalp there was Ocon, P17. Really showing
Two bad
Alpine they
weekends
made a
in a
good
row.
decision.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Giving
two
him a
bad
new
weekends.
contract. That's properly awful. At one point it looked like Latifi was in like P6 and then everyone came out of the pit lane and smashed him back down to P16.
16's not bad for him, though.
No?
No, I mean, he was only a 10th off of Russell's time in Q1. But that 10th was like 3 or 4 places, I think.
Q2, you've got Giovinazzi and Vettel missing out. So I guess a bit of a surprise given his recent run. Ricardo, an actual surprise, given that we thought he had turned a corner recently. And considering how quick his teammate was, that is really, really poor.
Yeah.
I think he was 6 tenths behind in Q1, and then in Q2, I think he was again about 6.5 tenths. And then
I don't know what's going on with him.
No, and I don't think McLaren are too happy with him either.
Well, he's probably on a massive paycheck.
A lot less than he was at Renault apparently, but still.
It'll still be up there.
Hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Sainz P12.
Bad one.
A big bad one. Russell P11. Amazing one.
Brilliant.
Look how close he was to P10.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, 8,000th.
They'll get there one day. Not that it really matters because in the race he always crumbled. But
yeah, exactly. He's the unluckiest man in Formula 1.
Yeah.
And then Q3, Stroll was 10th, Alonso 9th, Tsunoda 8th, Leclerc, Gasly, usual suspects. But Norris nicking ahead of Perez, 4th.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't decide if that was good from Norris and bad from Perez. I think it was a bit of both.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 tenths off Verstappen would normally say that's not bad for a teammate, but
Yes, that's a good point.
difference between 1st and 5th here.
We were saying all last episode that, well, Red Bull is so much above everyone, he can be half a second off. But this track is a bit shorter, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so even 3 tenths is a position down below where he should be, really.
Yeah, because the top 6 were within 4 tenths, so that's all it takes is one little mistake and you lose several places.
And the crazy thing for me here is that Gasly is less than a 10th behind him.
Yes.
In an Alpha Tauri. That is that's reason for debate there within the Red Bull camp, I think.
It won't be because they don't like.
Oh, true. Yeah, sorry.
Someone doesn't like Pierre. I think we all know who, but
Yeah.
I think to me he deserves a crack at it. But Bottas beat Hamilton.
Yeah.
Well done.
Oh yeah, of course.
Just.
And
But he in his day in qualifying, he does have enough speed to beat the 7-time world champion. So that's fair play, right? But there are other times when it's not so good.
and it's a shame about what happens in the races. So
Yeah. Or in this case, practice because he gets a grid penalty.
Yeah.
So he actually starts 5th, I think.
he does.
Yeah.
And Yuki Tsunoda, good, another good performance here. Paul Ricard wasn't good in qualifying, but before that, was he okay? Can't remember now. But in the top 10, close to Gasly. Unfortunately, blocked Bottas in qualifying and got a grid penalty as well.
He did.
Yeah. He did try and get away with it quite well with his interviews, I thought.
I didn't hear that.
He said, well, it's over the crest of a hill, so there's no chance that I could have seen him coming. And I was already in the braking zone, so it would have been dangerous to move out of the way.
It does go offline, but he needs to slow down way before the corner and pull to the right, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's the team's fault they didn't tell him.
I think so, yeah.
You know, also they say that the driver should be aware, regardless of if the team informs you or not.
Mm-hmm.
So it's unlucky, but it's still a very good performance in quali.
Yep.
Does put George Russell up to 10th though, with a free choice of tyres.
Yeah.
Points are
in
on.
the box seat.
Points are on at this point. He's going to do it.
Yeah.
Now, Nick, did you have some race predictions?
I did. They were all brilliant.
What were they?
What was it? I said Lando would get a podium.
Right.
I said Bottas would drop down at the start into the midfield and stay there.
Right.
And that Russell would finish 8th.
Whoa. I mean, you were close on all of them, but not.
But not really.
By close, you mean not
Wrong.
very close.
Well, they were all Formula 1 drivers.
Very true. So, race start. Verstappen gets away well from Hamilton and
See you later.
wins the race. So, well done, Max.
Yeah.
Last,
Much was.
last week we spoke about the lead battle first for like 25 minutes, and literally that's all I've got
Not
to
this
say
week.
on it.
Yeah.
Hamilton was about 5 seconds behind or something, just couldn't close up. Made, just hung there trying to get to the end on one stop, abandoned that, went to a 2 stop and got the fastest lap. And then Max was never in any jeopardy, apart from
No.
he actually wasn't in any jeopardy at all.
No, that was it.
Yep.
Didn't really see him either. Fair play. Well done. Job done.
Yeah.
Not much to talk about.
Quite commanding victory.
The midfield, the start got a bit interesting.
Holy moly.
Well, Norris and Perez had a little fight where Norris went off at turn 1 and got away with it. Was allowed to do that. They weren't monitoring that at the start.
Apparently you can do whatever you want on lap 1, turn 1.
Yeah.
Just ignore it. Leclerc ran wide as well because he was alongside Gasly, who had Alonso nicking up the inside.
Yeah.
I think there's a distinction between runs wide, if you like, lock up, or are too quick into a corner, or push wide if you're alongside someone and they ease you off, or what Leclerc did, which was deliberately drive wide around turn 1 at full speed and overtake 2 cars, and then rejoin dangerously. He's not even fully alongside. Like as he's turning into the corner, he could just be slower and feeding behind Gasly, in my opinion. But
They choose not to.
he chooses not to, deliberately.
He does a proper gill.
However, if that is in the rules where they're saying, "Oh, you can run wide on turn 1, lap 1," then also fair play for having the guile of working that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he gets back on the track and then he tries to cut back underneath Gasly, completely misjudges it, slices Gasly's tyre, which ruins his race completely, knocks off half of Leclerc's front wing, and then Gasly going into turn 3 ends up hitting another 2 cars. So Giovinazzi gets spun and then Latifi gets a puncture.
Yeah.
All from Leclerc being really, really clumsy at the start.
I felt unfortunate for Gasly because he, with a left rear puncher and all the pack going around him, he couldn't really go anywhere else. It did kind of keep straight, so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it wasn't really his fault, the last two contacts.
Nah, it was
He was just
unlucky.
trying to stay out of the way, and everyone else was trying to go around him. But
Also, Giovinazzi's trying to do the hero move on lap 1, which we've said before he's very good at. And
yeah,
unbeknownst to him, I don't think he would realise maybe, or maybe he does, but he can't anticipate the fact that Gaz is going to be a bit weird or
yeah,
can't stop very well into the corner.
yeah, he tries to go around outside there when he can probably see he's got a puncture.
Probably.
Yeah. But I thought that was really poor from Leclerc, to be honest. Because
Me
it
too.
said on comment, right, oh, he got squeezed, but you look at it, he had like 2 metres to the left.
Nah.
He had plenty of space.
yeah.
He
No,
was,
didn't get squeezed.
no, it was just daft, basically. I was really surprised he got away without a penalty. Like, I know it dropped him at the back, but he also, his action ruined 3 people's races, effectively.
I think they should have a system like British touring cars, which I'm sure we'll come to later, where you have like a formal reprimand, and then if you get 3 for dodgy manoeuvres that don't like ruin races, and if you get like 3 of them, then you do get a penalty or something like this. But anyway,
I suppose they do with the penalty points, but they only get them for
True.
very serious
yeah, right.
incidents usually. So yeah, I see what you mean.
They need like a tier down that builds
Yeah.
up and gets you some points then, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, poor
Yeah,
Pierre
I agree with that.
out of the race. Rear suspension failed on his way back to the pits.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean, in his defence as well, I thought he's been driving too quick. But if you watch the onboard with the radio, team radio, after turn 3, where there's the schmozzle, then he's immediately the team tells him to put him in a certain mode that locks the diffs, and he does ask straight away as well, like how quick can I go? And they say, do the speed you're doing now. And then within 5 seconds, the vibration through the wheel just suddenly increases. So I'm guessing at that point, straight away, the suspension's
Yeah.
collapsed.
hmm.
I feel like the suspension maybe collapsed when he went over or curb coming back on, or it wasn't really to do with like how quick he was driving back. I don't think, because he did ask the team.
There's Brundle made a comment as well, which was quite funny, but also quite harsh in a way. It was meant to be humorous, but he said about Gasly has managed to hit half the field, which is a good effort.
I mean, he did it. Well, he was in contact with, shall we say, 3 cars.
Yes,
Yeah,
but yes, none of them were really his fault. So.
no.
And Leclerc has to pit at the end of lap 1 for a wing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a good move from Alonso though to try and get up the inside. Quite punchy from him. He's been quiet at starts, and that was actually pretty
Yeah.
good from him.
Yep.
Norris managed to keep on to third for a while, but eventually just let Perez and Bottas past. Just actually pulled to the side and just let him go. So he knew he was driving for 5th and just took 5th.
Yeah,
It's kind of clever, but the move that Perez made down into turn 3, I was like, wow, that's so far back. But I think you're right. I think Norris was like, oh, this is happening, is it?
Yeah.
Right, just going to stay wide. Because as we see later on in the race, you can do that wide line round there and still get good drive, but he didn't even try to do that.
No.
I do think Perez surprised him slightly with the move, but he was never going
True.
to fight it.
But they didn't even fight it, yeah.
Yeah,
We cut live on board with Lewis Hamilton as he's coming out turn 4, as he's halfway around spinning and trying to catch it.
yeah.
As he dipped a wheel on the exit, the gravel on the exit, I think.
Yeah, left rear
it
gravel.
cuts to him like just as he's trying to save it. Which, well done, TV director. I've slated you all year. You caught that one. Well done.
Nice one. Yeah.
But yeah, he just shows he was on the ragged edge and still couldn't catch.
Yeah,
Yeah. Pushing it to the limit. Just on the right side, and maybe then he just calmed down a bit. Game over.
George Russell's going well with Leclerc and Gasly out. He's sitting in P8, and then the pit stops start.
Yeah, well, just quickly on that, they're all in like a trolley train, but
Yeah.
Alonso train.
yes. That's
They're all stuck in the
exactly what my
DRS,
note
aren't they?
says.
It did it. What does it say?
It does say, yeah, Alonso starting to lead a truly train.
P7, he's in, and then there's like everybody behind him: Russell,
Mm-hmm.
Yuki, Sainz, Vettel.
It looks at one point that George is going to make a move on him, but he just backs out.
Yeah.
Yeah, then he gets the message.
Yeah. Oh dear, poor George. So while he pits, it turns out he's got a pneumatic problem, so he has to get the air refilled. So he's got a long pit stop, which drops him out the points. And then unfortunately he has to come in again on the next lap to get more air in because they haven't put enough in.
Yeah, and it's just that's it. Then.
And then
Yeah,
retires.
and then
Yeah.
retires. Yeah, which he's never going to get a point for Williams. That's my new prediction. He's so unlucky when you think of all the incidents that have happened. I mean, the one at Imola was his fault, but everything else has been out of his control, really.
Well, it could happen again next week, but let's not get our hopes up too far. Unless you want to predict that now, Nick.
And that it'll be 7th.
7th?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right, looking forward to it.
Because there'll be carnage at the front.
I see. Right, let's not forget that.
Yeah. Perez ends up losing third to Bottas. It was during his pit stops, I think.
Yes.
He had a slow stop.
It was.
4.8 seconds pit stop.
Yep.
Going back to what you said earlier about... Oh, left through. Sorry, Nick. I talked to you. But going back to earlier when you both said about how Perez seems to get the slower stop.
Yeah.
He did today.
Yeah, which dropped the mind Bottas, but to be honest, neither of those were on the pace of the front two.
No.
They
Not at all.
were
Class B, wasn't it?
miles behind. It was ridiculous. I think it was about 18 seconds when Perez pit was behind Verstappen, which is mad.
Weird.
Yeah.
On such a short lap to lose that much time. That's ridiculous.
True, yeah, good point.
But we know that he's just there to clean up the mess when it goes wrong for Max. So I doubt Red Bull are too bothered.
Yep.
I had noted here that Leclerc and Kimi were having a good fight. And they turned 3.
Second yellow card offence for me for Leclerc.
And then Leclerc makes a mess of it
yes.
and they turn 4. So they have a great fight for turn 3. Kimi really goes for it and keeps the position. And then
Which is good. You want to see that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Sidney was questioning during the weekend, why is Kimi still there? Because he's slow and qualified and he doesn't look bothered half the time in the race. But he put up a fight here. And then Leclerc goes up the inside him or the outside of him in turn 4. And then edges across in the braking zone and knocks a bit of Kimi's front wing off.
Yeah. I thought it was a bit dodgy to start with. It was only on the replay that I saw that the front wing had been damaged. But yeah, that's 2 times that he's moved across in front or behind a car and just misjudged it by, not by a lot, but by enough to cause damage to his or someone else's car.
The frustrating thing with this one for me is he could just keep the race in line and still outbrake him. The move's done. He's got the better tyres. He's in the Fezzer, not an Alpha, so he can just stay where he is. And he didn't need to do that. It was a very, Alonso's famous quote of GP2 engine. That was a very GP2 overtaking manoeuvre.
Yeah.
He's got away with 2 there without a penalty. Well, to say that one would have been harsh for a penalty. But he's got away with 2 incidents because he could have easily given himself a puncture there by cutting across someone's front wing. So he got away
Having
with
said that, he did a load of overtakes more than anyone else in the race, and most of them were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was a thrilling drive. Without Leclerc, then nothing would have been happening, I don't think.
No. He manages to come all the way back up to 7th, which from last is good going. Well done.
And a lap on pit stop.
Yep.
Which is compromised strategy.
Yep. Fair play to him. Daniel Ricciardo had a bit of a strange race. I think he was up into 8th off the start, then he had an engine issue and ended up finishing back down 13th. But
he had that lap, didn't he, where there was no power.
Yeah, but it's even then, that's like he was behind Raikkonen forever and just couldn't get past, even during the pit stops, couldn't get past.
I don't know if he still had any issues after that or not. I know it was a temperature issue that caused it, but I don't know if he still had problems.
So that could have been if he's behind close someone, the car's not breathing.
Yeah.
My pure speculation there.
Yeah.
It did do a nice move on lap 1 around the outside of the penultimate corner on Yuki Tsunoda.
I don't think I even saw that one.
No,
that's all I've got to say.
My mind's a blank. So.
Yep. No, they're fighting like side by side for a few corners, and he goes around the outside of the penultimate corner, which is like, where the pit entry is just after it. When Nick likes to spin into, as if it's a strategy move.
Yeah.
It was on the best of onboards on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
Ah.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
Raikkonen was 11th, almost got a point. Almost.
What did he say about that?
Kimi?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, I didn't see the race.
Do you want to have a guess what he said about P11?
Blah.
Yeah.
Yep. Nothing. Alonso got P9. I did like his interview with Ziggo Sport after the race.
I didn't see that.
He cut in front of Lando because he was about to speak to them, and the guy just went, points? Yeah. And Alonso just went, yeah, thank you, and then left. and let Lando have the interview. So that was it.
He said something weird on the radio. I don't know if you've heard this.
No?
So Leclerc's closing him down, and I don't know which Haas it is. It's either Mick or Mazepin, obviously, into turn 1. And he goes, oh, we're unlucky, as in, like, I've just caught this lap car. He says, what the Haas?
All right.
I did not hear that.
He goes, it actually says, what the Haas beep? So he self-beeped himself.
Happy Alonso. Not seen happy Alonso in a while.
No, and he did seem very happy this weekend, didn't he?
He did. He said something, didn't he say something like, oh, regardless of the position, in qualifying, regardless of the position, that was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
So maybe he's found his mojo, and you know, when the car clicks and the setup works. Oh, hang about. It could just be that his teammate's not doing very well.
Yeah, very true. Perez did make a second stop towards the end and try and catch Bottas that way, but
With the punt?
He didn't. So
Very close, but no, not quite.
yeah, I think he was about half a second at the end, but yeah, didn't work.
On lap 60, he was 14 seconds behind. At that point, he set fastest lap. Lap 65, he was 8.4 seconds behind. And on the last lap, he was close, but not close enough. So Hamilton also then pitted, didn't he, for the fastest lap?
He did, and he did take it. It was actually turned out to be a real good weekend for Ferrari, in a way. Managed to get Sainz up to 6, which was really good.
Yeah.
And at one point, he actually unlapped himself from Hamilton. Hamilton did get a radio call to tell him to let him go.
Yeah.
But he did unlap himself.
There was a weird Ferrari radio call there, like, you can unlap yourself if you want. And he was like, I don't really want to, what's the point? And then passed him.
Yeah. Yeah.
From what I heard, Ferrari actually spoke to Mercedes.
Makes sense.
Hamilton to let him through. He didn't want to pass him without Hamilton letting him because he didn't want to affect the race.
Makes sense. Good, clever. Like it.
But he said he lost 15 laps. So I don't know how true that was, but apparently he said he lost 15 laps following Lewis. But I don't remember seeing him behind him for that long.
No.
That's
weird.
It was, he was kind of catching Lando for a bit, but it looked comfortable.
Yeah.
And it turns out they actually gained points on McLaren this weekend despite Lando getting 5th.
Yeah, because they both were in the points, right? Whereas there was only one McLaren.
I did like Sainz's pass on Stroll as well, where as it coming into turn 3, he deliberately held back so as he could get the DRS for the next straight.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Because I think he was actually slightly ahead around the outside and then came back behind him to make sure that he got the DRS to go past next time.
I think I remember seeing that, and Crofty was going on about how he was so disturbed with the turbulent air and everything. But I think you're right. I think you're right. He was just sizing up the move. Crofty.
Do you want to mention your Bill Burr clip?
Yeah, and Bill Burr's...
Because it's funny and accurate.
Yeah, Bill Burr's Monday morning podcast this week. He's a big Formula 1, he's a big motorsport fan, watches Formula 1, and he wasn't happy that all the Sky F1 commentators were talking about was Hamilton. How slow he was and how he was going for the fastest lap, and even the Americans are pissed off at Crofty, so... Even
Talk about Max winning, not Lewis Hamilton getting the fastest lap.
Exactly. One of the world's biggest comedians is pissed off with Sky. Because it is Sky coverage it's to use, and it's just... They just stick, I think, the NBC logo in the corner. But I think a lot of the pre-race and post-race is Sky as well, so... I think
it didn't used to be.
I think they do reuse a bit of the coverage.
Right.
I have only watched one race in America, and it was definitely they had a bit of Sky post race as well. So
I think a few years ago, Will Buxton used to do specific bits for NBC.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
I remember him.
That's clearly changed now.
Employed by them.
Yeah. I got a couple of random things from this race to mention.
Yes.
One was Mazepin and Mick had a good battle at one point.
Did it?
Oh yes, they did actually.
Mm.
Yeah, Mick tried to get down the inside of turn 3, didn't quite work out. Then tried to go around the outside of turn 4, he locked up. Then eventually did get past down the inside of turn 3. It was that was quite tight because Mazepin moved the braking zone, in my opinion.
Shock.
Yep. Did anyone see the big hashtag Austrian Grand Prix sign at the exit of turn 1?
No.
No.
That was there a week early because obviously it was Styrian Grand Prix.
Oh, yes.
Very true.
And also, final thing, I mentioned this and I got it wrong last week properly, but I'll say this now. So if we're going to call turn 3 and not turn 2, then it should be turn 4, and therefore turn 4 should be turn 7. Okay, there we
Yeah.
go.
All the kinks.
All the kinks count.
Yeah. Oh, why? Oh, yeah, I'm not going to do
One more thing.
I'm not going to get the corner numbers.
The stewards were annoyed by Max's burnout. Now, if that's a burnout,
Oh, yes.
what the heck?
Yeah, they
I want to see a donut. Then get annoyed.
yeah, yeah. Red Bull apparently got an immediate warning for that, and they were told, "Do that again, you'll get a penalty."
Mm-hmm.
Which would have been funny if Max had lost the race because of that. But
It would have been amazing.
yeah,
It was overkill. I understand what they were saying is that he did that before he'd finished the race.
I
which
did
is
think
why
he
it
was a bit
deemed,
early.
Unsafe because there are still technically cars behind him doing full speed. Because
I
he
feel like
hasn't
we
finished, but it's not really that bad. And then was
Yeah,
it
it's
the
not bad.
MotoGP where someone got a golf club out?
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That's fine.
yeah. Hitting golf balls at other riders is fine, but
Yeah,
That was amazing, that. Yeah, it was Fabio Quartararo, wasn't it, who won?
Mm.
This is the Dutch Grand Prix at Assen. And, yeah, his celebration is to... Because the weird thing with MotoGP, and one thing I do like, it reminds me of when... You know, remember Nigel Mansell won the British Grand Prix and got mobbed on the track?
yeah.
It seems like you can allow to have a few people on the track celebrating on the cooldown lap, which, by the way, is the most dangerous thing in the world. But fine.
Yes.
And so then it's like his mate. It's his mate that he played golf with early in the week. Comes across to him with a golf club and a ball, and he's like smashing it
he
badly. He missed it three times.
he forced his first shot, and he puts a big dent in the bottom of his driver, I think. So,
Oh yeah.
but to be fair, I could probably afford a new one.
But then in Formula One, it's like, oh, you did something slightly interesting. That's not allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it did remind me, and I think we mentioned this before, but Verdheim, is it? Was it Formula 3000 Monaco? He celebrated before the finish line and lost the
yes.
win.
Yeah.
And Max did it, and I was like, has he crossed the line yet?
Yeah.
But of course, Hamilton's so far behind because of the pit stop for the fastest lap. But
Yeah.
it was a bit like, you've not finished yet.
yeah. Calm down.
But still not deserving of a warning. I mean, come on.
No, I didn't think so.
So
I understand why they felt they had to, but yeah, I didn't agree with it.
Get over it.
the FIA are really come down on everything with safety at the moment,
Mhm.
which
Well, there's nothing wrong with safety, but I didn't think that wasn't safe.
no, it's yeah. I'm not going to argue against safety, but let's have a little bit of fun every now and again.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
One of the TCR drivers at Sochi. This is a bit of a tangent. Sorry. Stefano Camini. He didn't have a drive anymore, and this was in the early days of TCR. He won a race, a front-wheel drive car, and it's the first time I've ever seen a reverse donut. I didn't think you could do that, but you just do it in reverse, and it does a
Yeah.
donut with front-wheel drive. Brilliant. I want to see more of that. Thanks.
yeah. Maybe the touring cars next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, championship. Max is 18 points ahead now, with Perez up into third. He's miles behind, 60 points behind, and then Norris is still fourth on 86, which is pretty good going.
Yeah, brilliant.
He's got over double the points his teammate. He's got 52 points more than his teammate
Oof.
already,
Oof.
which I know he's just signed a new contract, but I can imagine he's probably thinking I could have got a few more zeros out of that now.
Mhm. I think McLaren's got it in early, before. But each subsequent
Yeah.
race, his stock is going up, right?
They did, and Paul Di Resta was talking about that during FP2. He thought that Lando had signed a contract too early. He was saying if he had hung on, he might have had an offer from Mercedes or Red Bull, but I don't think he would have from Mercedes, but other teams would have been sniffing about him.
Mm-hmm.
But
And that could have, even if he stayed, it could have used that to get more.
exactly, yeah.
Clever from McLaren, I would say.
Yep, get him down early. So yeah, Max is well ahead, and Mercedes are adamant they're not going to develop the car this year still. And I think
Kind of.
they say they're going to try and find someone, but they're totally
They have
adamant
said
they're going
that-
to bring big developments to the car.
Yes, but apparently updates are coming still.
Hmm.
But these are ones that have already been developed and have not quite yet made it to the car. They won't be developing any new ones from this point on. But there is still going to be some upgrades over the next few races.
I think it's done, to be honest.
Oof.
I don't.
Big call.
So the last two tracks were ones that Mercedes was supposed to come back on, and they
Yeah.
didn't. And Red Bull have said they're going to keep the new developments as far as they can. So I think it's done. I think Max is going to win it this year. I don't see Mercedes calling that back.
I'm tempted to agree, but if Lewis finishes second to Max in every remaining race, and then Max has a tyre blowout or a mechanical failure, there's still a
Yeah.
chance then, isn't there?
Yeah.
You've got to remember there's 9 million races left.
Very true.
Yes, at several unspecified tracks.
Yep.
Yes, very true. But to be honest,
I'm with you though.
I
But,
don't see it changing at this point.
yeah.
And I don't even think Mercedes with the cost cap even have the ability to change their mind. I imagine they've probably poured all the money into next year already.
Maybe.
Plus the alleged however many hundreds of thousands they lost from Russell and Bottas's crash.
Yeah. Yeah, very true.
Hmm. Anyway, the main championship point update, Colin, we
Hmm.
all know and we're waiting for it, is who's ahead, Williams or Haas?
Williams and Haas. I think it is Williams. It is. Williams is still ahead.
And who's ahead out of the drivers? Sorry, like Latifi, Russell.
It should be Russell, Schumacher, Latifi, Mazepin, I think. That's just off the top of my head.
Almost. Mazepin's ahead of Latifi.
Oh,
So all that stick with game Mazepin, we should have been giving it to Latifi.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Latifi's last.
Latifi's last at the moment, yeah.
Oof.
And I
Interesting.
can't really say I've been impressed with him again this year. He's still miles off Russell in qualifying, and his races are decent, to be fair. His races are okay.
It wasn't miles off in this qualifying.
No,
No.
it was the other way around this race. He
Yeah.
was close in quali and miles off in the race. Although
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
could have that puncher.
Yeah. But I'm not impressed.
No.
I think I was impressed early on the season, so if anyone remembers those podcasts, take it back. I'm not now. Changed my mind.
Yeah. I can't remember what I said last week, so if
I
my
think it was
opinion
quick
has
in
totally
Imola.
changed, then...
Yeah. He was good at that one round, I think.
So, F1.
Right.
Anymore? We're back here again next week for the Austrian Grand Prix.
Oh, good.
And, yeah, just copy and paste this week's results. I think you'll probably be pretty close, to be honest.
No. Russell's going to finish in P7.
That's
Yep.
true.
And Ricciardo is going to be ahead of Norris.
Ah,
Oh, that's big.
very good.
I want that in writing, please, afterwards, because
Yeah.
I'll forget otherwise.
I have no justification for this at all. They're just feelings that I have.
There's definitely they've gone softer for the tyres again for next
Hmm.
week, so it'll probably be
Yeah.
a 2-stop rather than a 1.
Oh, I see.
But I still don't see that making much of a difference to the lead.
That's probably why this race is a bit dull, because everyone pitted once and then
Yeah.
Oh. that's it.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the British Touring Car Championship, which from this week came from Brands Hatch Indy. It's good to see that track come back and not be at the end of the year, because I don't like it at the end of the year.
Mhm.
That
Oh,
was just
yeah, no.
bizarre last year. So it's back in a somewhat normal slot, and qualifying, what about a surprise? Everyone except from Nick Hamilton was within a second. Nick Hamilton was about 1.2 seconds behind pole,
Yeah.
but everyone was within a second.
Which is good.
And Dan Rowbottom got pole just ahead of Gordon Shedden, which I was surprised about. I didn't see that coming out of Robo, but he done
No, banned. Get off.
I was wondering who was going to say that.
it. Good old Robo. So yeah, pole position. Very well done.
Yeah, very well done.
Yeah.
Need I say that it reminds me of Jeff Smith in 2017 when he got his surprise pole position at Brands Hatch Indy in a Honda. In so much as the result sort of came out of nowhere. But was it 5,000 gap to Shedden?
It was, yeah.
It was, yeah.
Very close. And what did we say last week? That we think Shedden should be on pole because he's got the weight advantage over every competitor.
Yes, although he did have ballast.
He still has some
The
ballast.
smallest possible
Yes,
amount.
right. So that still kind of counts in my opinion. He's still ahead of every other championship contender. So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. Ingram was 6th, Sutton was 7th, and Tuckington was 14th. Which is...
Yeah, Sutton did very well with
And
that.
Ingram.
Yeah, also.
And Jake Hill had someone who was up in 3rd, which is
Mm-hmm.
an excellent result.
Well, shout out to Eddie Moffat. I thought P5 was good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Considering
Smashing.
last year
Yeah.
in qualifying he was nowhere. P5.
Yeah, even with no weight, he was
Yeah.
nowhere last year. So now
Yeah.
that
Well done.
it's been a while since he's been up there. He used to be up there with the old Merc sometimes, didn't he?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to adapt to the Infinity until the last race
Yeah.
or two.
I would say that's fair.
And just
But then he hasn't driven any rear-wheel drive cars before this, apparently.
Big learning curve. He's doing better there as a teammate to Sutton than every other driver other than Josh Cook at the minute. If you think of it that way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Proctor struggled against him, Plato struggled against him. And, okay, there's weight, but he has at least qualified in the top 5 there, in the same machinery. So if you think of it that way, good one.
couple of names to pick out in qualifying. Plato was 17th.
Not very good.
Nope. Morgan was 21st.
Yep.
Tom Chilton was 24th. And
That's bad.
then next pick that we're to watch out for this week was Sam Smelt, who was 26th.
Oh, I'd forgotten about Sam Smelt. Matt, we said
Yeah.
we'd look out for him, and I haven't.
Well,
To be fair, he wasn't there to look out
I
for.
was going to say, I tried to, but yeah, I didn't see him.
no, unfortunately, 26. And yeah, I don't even remember ever seen him on camera, to be
No, I
honest.
don't think I did.
No, I would say Ollie Jackson's a bit below form and 19th.
Yeah.
And Jack Goff's very good in P11.
Mm-hmm.
And Butcher, where was Butcher? 16th. Oh, yeah, that's not good. I thought, he's got to...
Yeah.
As soon as he gets some ballast on, he's just not gelling with that Toyota at the minute. If you look at how quick Ingram's adapted to the Hyundai, although, as we know, and as you've pointed out, Nick, there's an engineer switcheroo there as well.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who's engineering Butcher. So it'll be
No clue.
driver and engineer getting used to the car. But
Both
that's about it for
Sicily
qualifying.
and the Astros, I thought, were really disappointing for quality.
Yeah. When it's that close, though, there is always going to be people who lose out, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still... You've got to get it done. And also, Andy Neat returned.
He
Oh,
did.
yes, a brilliant position that was.
Yeah. 28th?
I
Yep.
don't remember seeing him at all the weekend, though, so well
No,
done.
I didn't.
Well done to him. We keep him still out of the news. But yeah, to be honest, you didn't really see much at the back. I think the only things we've seen at the back was Jade Edwards and Rick Parfitt the
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, and a bit of Nick Hamilton.
Yeah, because of Rick Parfitt. So, but the rest
True.
was pretty anonymous. So, do you want to do your bit of news now, or do you want to go straight into race one?
No, we'll leave that to the end.
We had the
Mhm.
So race one, front row lookout for the Hondas, first ever pole for Rowbottom, and they get a horrible start.
Yeah.
Rowbottom drops down to 6th or 7th, and then Sheridan drops a couple of positions as well.
Do you think pole position should be moved as well? Because the inside at Brands, especially in slightly damp conditions, is always pointing towards the wall when someone tries to pull away.
Difficult one. I think Robottom was trying to avoid that, and then Biss got no revs, right? So I don't think he even slid down. I just think he just didn't move. Yeah.
Because it's always the outside
He-
that gets a better start.
I think I would agree with that hypothesis there. To switch it. Was it Senna at Suzuka when he wanted to switch the side of the pole? Was it when they had that famous
Yeah.
incident with Prost? Wasn't that
Indeed.
the run up to that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you just put pole on the left, that'll be more an advantage to be on pole, I suppose. It's just in the dip there, isn't it? It's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, after the pole start, then what happened, Colin?
Tom
Yeah,
Elephant
sorry.
takes the lead and, well, stays there, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the action's pretty much behind him. And Adam Moffat gets set up to second. Then Ingram, I think, tries to get past Shedden round the outside of Clearways, or he's just got ahead of him. And then Shedden gives him a nice little gentle nudge out of the way to get up into third, and Ingram drops down to 6.
Yeah, not cool that.
No, I thought that was a bit of a naughty one. There was a lot of
Yeah.
moves this weekend that I thought weren't on and didn't really get punished.
Yep. That one did get punished in the end. It wasn't time penalty, but it was a reprimand.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, it's still like there are some where people like, oh, there's half a gap and they've rubbed there, and it's a bit forceful and a bit on the edge. There was Jack
Yeah.
Goff trying to do it but failing all the time, just driving into the back of people at that corner.
Yeah.
This one is a full-on punt from behind, and then doesn't lift off the throttle
Yes.
as Ingram's sliding. So, case closed on that one.
Yeah, it was like a different Honda was at the scene. It was very
Yeah.
Neo-esque.
Yeah, I was just a bit desperate. I felt.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Colin. I'm ribbing on your favourite driver there, but
No, I'm not going to defend my boy Flash this weekend.
my body flash.
So, yeah, this is the first of a few things I'd say that weren't really very, very good to see.
Yep.
The other Scott, I've got Eddie Moffat, was really aggressive defending against Shedden,
Yep.
which allowed, well, Sutton almost got around both of them, but
Yep.
ultimately Gordon actually got in front of them both again. You think there was another hot tap from Shedden?
Yeah, I do.
Back there?
I do. I do think that
Yeah.
it's hard to see, but I feel like he bumped the back of Moffat wide at Druids. Although, as you pointed out, Moffat defends like mad before that and cuts his nails off. So it's a bit of tit for tat, that one. I wasn't too bothered, but I'm fairly certain there was contact there. It was kind of like when he spun out Chilton at Snetterton. You couldn't really see it on the camera properly.
Yeah, but you think he did it?
I think he did it anyway.
Yeah,
Oh, we
I-
need to keep
I
a
would
track
agree on
of. We need to keep a track of these for the year. The Shedden desperation moves.
that. Yeah.
It does seem like he's driving like his life's on the line. Like,
Yeah.
he's proper desperate.
Which, to be fair, if this season doesn't go well, it's his career over, arguably. So I think that's where it comes from.
Possibly. And the season probably, well, season isn't really going that well, so.
No. Anyway,
His son's been a bit safe this weekend. It wasn't his usual aggressive self. He wasn't really cutting through the pack, and there was a few opportunities where he could have went harder on people and he didn't.
yeah. Well, I think there is one where he bumps someone, and I can't remember what race it is. So we'll get to that in a minute. I think it might be race 2, but then he immediately backs off. I think he's into the back of Rowbottom and Ingram, and that is a new form of Ashton. And I think what's happening is he's driving for the championship already, and he's sort of seeing what Ingram's doing at the minute. And they seem to be sort of they're the ones to watch. Maybe that's an element of it.
I don't
Obviously,
think
though,
in
you've got to
race
remember.
one- Sorry,
Yeah.
go on, Tom.
Oh well, you might be saying what I was going to say there. Maximum ballast into race.
Yeah,
one.
exactly that.
Yeah. So he's actually done very well considering.
Mhm.
But you're right. In race 2 and 3, it wasn't like, wow, he's
Yeah.
1 from 10th.
Yeah, it's not what you expect.
Yeah.
Aidan Moffat, his teammate, eventually, his mad defence gets found out, and he gets run out wide through turn 1, going up to Druids, and I think 4 cars go past him in one go. And
Yeah.
I felt a little bit sorry for Aidan because he drove his full weekend looking in his rear mirror
Yeah.
and panicking, but they'll accept at some points. But
He's always
yeah,
he's always had that air of him though, even with the Merc, of
Yeah.
like aggressively defending. It's not a new thing. It's just
No.
we've not seen it for a while at the front.
No, and then possibly a big moment for the championship where Sam Osborne spins out Colin Turkington, who wasn't really doing much in that race either, to be honest.
Yeah. Did you see that incident at all, Nick?
I saw the replay of it. I did say at the time that I thought he might have been assisted by Osborne, but when you see a replay, I think it was in between the races from a different angle, it clearly shows Osborne tapped him at the rear end and just spun him round.
It was lucky to get out of the gravel,
Yeah,
which
very
didn't
lucky.
cause a safety car because his rear wheels were in the gravel. And it's a rear-wheel drive car. And this was at the moment where Tim Harvey said, "Wow, Turkington spun off. That's uncharacteristic."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because he got punted. But weirdly, he did. With good reason. They did. I can't remember now, but it was almost apologetic on social media to say, "Oh, we've not got the pace out of the car this weekend," which is very weird. But I just think it was more circumstance than anything. It was the qualifying, and then he was mired with incidents like this.
Yeah, because Oliphant and to some degree Jelly clearly had pace in the car.
I would agree with that. Yep, absolutely. After that, then, not too much going on other than a crazy move by our favourite son of a rock god.
Yeah.
Rick Parfitt does a proper Tom dive. He Druids, and is nowhere near making the corner and hits poor Nick Hamilton, who was just driving his own line.
Yeah.
And Hamilton gets going pretty quick, but then Parfitt, Rick Parfitt has he's end up spins and ends up right miles behind, and essentially is just in front of the leaders.
Yeah. Have you ever... It's been a while since we've seen a front-wheel drive touring car lock up like that. It must have been...
Well, if you break that way for a corner,
Yeah.
it might happen.
There must have been some excrement in those pants. Yeah.
I like the fact that Nick Hamilton actually turned out the way of it, but still got collected.
I
So just
know.
coming all the way through.
Not much you could
he's
do about
coming.
that.
I'll give him a bit of room, but he's...
He was going straight for the wall if Hamilton wasn't there.
True, he did him a favour.
Yeah.
It was one of those, like, you're fighting for like 28. What are you doing? Like, why are you doing that?
It's like the ones I would do on GT Sport, where I start looking at the track map or something to see where someone else is, and there's a corner in front of me.
He was trying to find his fuel menu. He
Yeah.
couldn't quite find it.
The thing is, it's not a corner that you would have a dive on. You've got to have an overlap already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless the
set
door is
it
left
up.
totally open and you're very, very close, you've got no chance.
You're actually rare. It's rare to see these days a dive from that corner. Yeah. But so then Parfitt, as you mentioned there, Colin, is about to get lapped because Oliphant's leading, but Shedden's hunting him down, and it's actually quite interesting at that point. You know, not from an overtaking point of view, but from there's only so many laps left, and he's catching in like 3/10, 4/10 on it. Did you think he was going to do it?
No.
No.
No, to be honest. And I was a bit worried for Oliphant when Shen started getting close, given what he's been doing already this weekend.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I thought this is a lap last. This is a last lap. A lap last. Dive at clearways. You know.
Yeah.
Dive bomb.
It didn't come, but Rick Parfitt was right in front of Oliphant as they went in the clearways, which you thought, oh God, has he just cost Oliphant in the race? Yeah. And there is a drag to the line, but the BMW's just got the legs.
They're quick in a straight line. It was a bit of a. If I was to characterise that race in a person, it'd be Ray Winston, I think, because like even with Jack, everyone was biffing and barging. It was like, oh, have a bit of that. Bet 365. Yeah, it was elbows out, wasn't it? It was a bit like nitty gritty, which was fine.
Services are available.
Yes, do not gamble responsibly.
But yeah, I weirdly would agree with that.
Is this a new thing? What celebrity did this race resemble?
That will never happen again, I guarantee it.
So Oliphant hangs on for first, with Shedden in second, and Rowbottom recovers to third, which, to be fair, after that start, is pretty decent.
Yeah, first podium, right?
Yeah, that is actually, I think. First podium, and he was knocked down to 7th at the start.
He said afterwards that this weekend proves that he deserves it, after, a lot of internet, not hate, but questioning, and I don't think that weekend shows that. But if he does well for the rest of the season, it definitely does.
Yeah.
I think it shows promise.
It does, yeah.
Yes.
Being pole position and a podium right away, I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah.
And it was punchy in a few of the races, so...
Good moves. 2 good overtakes into Druids in this race, following up several good overtaking moves at Thruxton. So the racecraft is there. Well, he's an old Clio Cup graduate, isn't he, Nick?
He is, yeah.
There you go, you see.
Get your elbows out in that championship.
Yeah, full on Ray Winston in that series. Interesting race.
Didn't recover, really. He was 20th. Butcher managed to get up to 15th, so not
that's a
too
point.
much. Yeah. Same with Plato was 13th, Padilla 14th. So there was a bit of recovery from the guys
Yeah.
that had a pretty poor qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
Golf was up to 10th, and then Cook was up to 9th.
Yeah.
That was a great start to the season for Cook in the BTC.
Just
and
was
then,
terrible at Snetterton.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Although he did get a good race 3 result there.
Yeah, but it's not really actually been anywhere on pace since
No.
round 1,
That's correct.
which has been a bit of a shame.
Apparently, he's very much a Thruxton expert.
Hmm.
Now, we're going there twice this year for him, so that's good.
Yeah, we have
That's a
2
very
good
good point.
weekends. So yeah, so I think he said Shedden got a reprimand for his incident, and then I think Osborne got a actual penalty for it.
Yeah,
did,
6-second
yeah.
penalty or something, yeah.
So race 2.
Yep.
Race 2, kind of similar start for some of the Hondas. I mean, Shedden had a pretty terrible start.
He did.
He got swamped pretty quick, and Hill tried to go up the inside into turn 1, and there was contact. Bit of 50-50, I thought. First viewing I went,
Yeah.
Shedden's turned in on him, but then watching it again, he probably can't see him. And it's a bit of it's a bit of 50-50, I'd say. But it does drop Gordon back down again, even further.
Yeah, I think Hill was far enough alongside that he should have been given room, but I still call it 50-50. I think Tom disagrees on that one, but
Well, I wouldn't say disagree. I think they both got a part to play, but it's kind of lap 1. Hill is just about enough up inside. Discretion is a better part of valor in that move. I felt like Hill could have backed out a little bit more, but I would agree it's 50-50 basically.
It didn't hurt him.
Okay,
so
I'm
it was
gonna
worth
say-
doing.
Yeah, I'm going to say 60-40 Hill, and you're probably going to say 60-40 Shedden. Nick, is that correct?
no, I think
Oh, you're
it's
going straight 50-50.
50-50, yeah, because
No, fine.
I think either of them could have avoided it.
Fair enough. I'd agree with that.
Rick Parfitt and I think Jade Edwards as well spin. One.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think we just see Parfitt spinning. I don't think we see Edwards spinning.
I think Edwards was a replay later on, was it?
Don't even
But
remember
certainly
seeing a
Parfitt you
replay.
can see in the back.
Yeah.
And he doesn't floor the throttle, he just sort of spins out.
And those two are basically fighting for the rest of the weekend.
Seems
Yeah.
that way, doesn't it?
And we see clips because I think they've got an onboard camera on Edwards' car,
They do,
Yeah.
yeah.
so you occasionally see those two fighting scattered throughout race 2 and race 3.
Maybe you're right. Maybe there wasn't a replay of her spinning. Anyway,
And then the next thing I've got is Aidan Moffat assaults Jason Plato. But
Yeah.
you might want to say more about that.
well, for me, Sutton bumps into the back of is it Moffat? Yeah. Sorry,
Smiley.
Smiley. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 2 incidents I'm conflating there. This is Smiley. So Smiley gets a run out of turn 1, Paddock Hill, on Moffat, goes down the inside to Druids. In my opinion, at this point, Moffat moves in the braking zone and puts Smiley on the grass. Smiley can't brake in time, therefore they both have a contact on and they fly into the corner. And Moffat loses out and goes wide. He doesn't come back on, he's still on the track, right? But then Lloyd gets past, I think. Then Plato gets alongside down the hill. And then what happens?
Well, Moffat just turns into him twice
Yeah,
in a straight line.
pretty aggressively.
Yeah, just it looks like a very hard right turn
Boom, boom, boom.
into him. Yeah,
It's an assault. And I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of the verbal abuse from Plato at the end of that race.
yeah.
It was out of order. I don't know if he thought it was him who put him there off in the first place. Even if it was, it's still out of order.
Oh yeah,
Kinda-
definitely.
Kind of reminds me of, was it Shedden who did it in one race in Snetterton as well? He just sort of turned into someone in the straight line. It's a
Yeah,
new
he
trend.
did. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we need a tally on Shedden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Us Scots are getting a bit feisty for some reason. I don't know what it is. So yeah, Moffat I think loses a few places
Bizarre
and then
move.
goes mega defensive forever in a day afterwards.
Yeah.
Then there's a huge incident
Oh yeah,
as Stephen Jelly tries to get up the inside of Shedden into turn 1, and to me he does. He gets a run on him out the last corners, quick clue up the right hand side of Shedden, and Gordon decides suddenly to try and close the door while he's already
Yeah.
alongside, which causes them both to go straight on at turn 1. I think Moffat might even get clipped. Or
No,
this
it's
is really cool.
Baldley.
Oh yeah, it was Baldwin.
As it Bordley.
Mhm.
Cut the front end of him. Smiley's out. Shedding can continue, but to me that's 100% Shedding. Turns in, tries to block him too late and causes a crash. And I'm surprised he got away with that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's always slightly dangerous for someone to try up the inside that close.
True.
But Jelly was there, and he should have been given the room.
It's a really good move because he's got the run, but there is a little gap between them, and he just dives, boom, and all of his car is there.
Yeah.
And I had to freeze frame it because I wasn't sure at first. I had to skip through it frame by frame, and there's definite movement by the Honda once the BMW is already there.
But he's cut to the pit exit as well, where there's more space. So he's got the room and everything.
He does,
He's got the move going, and
I don't think he's going to go off the track either.
No, and then
on his own.
Shedding panics, obviously.
Yep.
Says he doesn't really see him.
If that's a front-wheel drive car, it wouldn't have been such a big thing. I think because he was rear-wheel drive, that meant he couldn't then straighten the car out. They both went to the left.
Maybe, but also it puts him on the grass when he's braking.
That's what I mean, though. But I think if it's front-wheel drive, you can get away with that more. You
Maybe
can just power through it a bit more.
Yeah. It's quite a big impact for Jelly, actually.
Yeah.
When you see the onboard, it's like it's straight into the barrier, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a safety car for a while and a precarious car recovery. You could see did they show the onboard camera still when it was in the air and Jelly's sort of looking at it, going, "Ooh."
Oh yeah. Please don't break it anymore.
Yeah, please don't drop that.
Yeah, but poor from Shedding, but he keeps going. He's straight at the back wheel, but he continues.
After putting a load of gravel on the track.
Yeah.
Next thing I've got is the first onboard we get of Jack Goff hitting someone up the inside of clearways, which he does about 33 times over the weekend.
Well, there's a battle going on with Moffat defending for his life.
Yeah.
And basically no one can get past him. So Goff is smashing into the back of him. Then what happens is Proctor gets past Goff. So Proctor does the same. Can't get past him. So then Goff's back in front again. Mm-hmm. And Butcher's involved at some point. I think Butcher gets tapped by Goff as well.
Yeah, it does.
That was quite a bad one, actually, because Butcher was making good progress and then fell right back down again.
Yeah.
He lost 3 or 4 positions, didn't he? That could have been reverse, that would have been up there for the reverse grid, a podium, and all of a sudden we'll be saying, Butcher's had a turnaround this weekend.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
But Jack Goff they kept going on board. The TV director must have been waiting every single lap for him to get towards the corner, and then cut to him. Because every single lap he was trying to stick up the inside, and he was just hitting the rear wheel with it, but whoever was in front, over and over again. And again, the stewards let him away with it because they got positions out of it. And I'm pretty sure they said during the weekend they were going to tighten up on all this, and then they didn't. So
that seems more lenient than most weekends.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
I think they said they're going to tighten up on that, and we're going to tighten up on turn 1 and lap 1 incidents, and they did neither. Which, if you're going to come out and say it, back it up, because the drivers now know they can get away with murder. Yeah. I've said it again. Oh, good old tag.
Love it.
You got any more in the midfield battle?
Well, it's upper midfield because Hill has a puncher, surprisingly.
Yes.
Disaster runs off at clearways, which I think is like Alain Menu in 1999. But thanks to the way British touring cars are policed on YouTube, I can't check that.
Yeah.
Because the clip doesn't exist anymore. But I don't know if Menus was a puncher, but this, at first, the commentary actually was a bit like, oh, what a rookie mistake that is.
Yeah.
But
you just saw him off in the gravel, sort of up against the wall to start with, don't you?
Yeah.
It was weird to get a puncher though, right?
Yeah.
Even during the replay, they're like, oh, he's missed his breaking point by miles. Like, oh, come on, he's clearly got a problem. And then eventually you see he's got a puncture, and I think they say...
I felt like it was a bit late.
I think Tim Harvey says he thought they picked it up through Graham Hill Bend because they were cutting that corner. Which,
to
be fair, it probably was that. And it was really the only puncture of the weekend, I think, so...
Yeah.
It's a bit unlucky, because he was sitting third, so it's really unlucky for a Hill.
Then that ruins his weekend again.
Yeah.
It's most of the title contenders at this point seem to be having problems, except for Sutton and Ingram.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then it's basically back to the lead battle, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because Oliphant's leading, but with maximum ballast. So everybody's... Well, I think Rowbottom, correct me if I'm wrong, Colin, or Nick. Rowbottom catches up and could win that race, in my opinion.
Mm.
Yeah.
And he makes a half move at paddock and then gets swallowed by the pack.
Well, he tries to go around the outside of Druids at the hairpin
Yeah.
on
okay.
Oliphant, and then Oliphant just ignores him and drives him off the
yes.
track.
Yeah.
Which I think it might have dropped him behind one car. Certainly Sutton
did.
gets him towards the
Ingram
end.
got past.
Yeah.
Ingram got through there.
Yeah.
And then that kind of compromises the rest of Rowbottom's race, and Sutton I think gets him on the penultimate lap,
Mm-hmm.
going into
Yep.
clearways.
And,
But I thought it was I know they said in the commentary, "Oh, you're allowed to do that," but I think Oliphant might have got a warning after the race.
he did, yeah.
and-
Reprimand for that.
To be honest, I don't really think that's completely on to do it as bad as he did. I mean, fair enough, running him a little bit over the curb and everything like that, but the way he properly forced him like 3 meters off the track, it was
Yeah.
miles off.
Yeah, he didn't
It-
run to the edge of the track, did he? Oliphant ran past the edge of the track
Yeah.
himself, pushing. So it was. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that.
Yep, I'm not going to say anything else other than it reminded me of Radicic and Rivali in 1990.
Oh dear. So Ingram's back through and he's catching Oliphant. It looks like Oliphant's probably got it in the bag, going out in the final lap, and then Ingram has a really, really optimistic lunge
Mm-hmm.
into turn one and catches the back end of Oliphant, which pushes him a bit wide, and he's able to nick past and Druids, I think, and take the lead,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
which I thought was a bit naughty. It was a really optimistic lunge, I say, and I think he knew what he was doing. He was either going to
Yeah.
force him wide or he was going to hit him. Like, there's no way that was going to be clean.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I put in my notes penalty worthy with question marks, just because I'm not 100% sure if he should have had a penalty or not, but it was certainly debatable.
I've got a theory about this.
Mm,
If Oliphant held on to second, the positions would be reversed.
that's a good
But-
point.
But that would be my opinion, and that's what I would have done. Like, to me, at first you think, oh, he's kind of alongside, but Oliphant is right to turn in at that point, and it's front left wheel contact with right rear wheel contact. So
Yes.
it's not alongside. It's not at the, with Hill Shedden Hill was further along.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
in other series they say up to the B pillar is sort of it's on for an acceptable move, even if there's contact. Well, this wasn't even at the C pillar. Oliphant afterwards said it's optimistic. He wasn't alongside me and he hit me, and I thought that was a good description.
Yeah,
I also felt like Ingram sounded like he'd just been sentenced to a life in jail in the post race interview. It was very much
Yes.
like trying to speak about everything else other than what happened there.
yeah. And then when they did ask him, he looked all surprised and said, "Well, there was a gap and I filled it."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not having that one.
There's a joke about
No.
pasties in there somewhere.
Yes.
So
Oliphant could have made a better job of the defence. Being as it was the last
Correct.
lap, he probably could have made it less easy for him to attempt the move. But
you could smell it coming, couldn't you?
yeah,
Like, I was literally expecting it, but
Yes.
it still wasn't. It still didn't work. It's still a penalty worthy, in my opinion. But what irked me a little bit was, so Oliphant runs slightly wide coming out of clearways. Sutton has a bit of an overlap, and if you watch very, very carefully, Sutton, there's a slight right curve on the pit straight.
yes.
Sutton doesn't turn right.
No, he goes left.
He goes deliberately left into the side of Oliphant, and that to me gives him second position because the loss of momentum there for the BMW.
Well, just to be clear, he doesn't turn left. He just doesn't open the steering up.
Correct.
Or he opens the steering up more than he needs to.
Yeah, he doesn't turn right. He just almost goes straight, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And it's very deliberate and it's
Yeah.
very clever.
Oh yeah, I don't see a problem with it, but it is very,
Yes.
very good.
Yeah. That was like a bit of Sutton magic, but a bit too harsh. I don't know, but I feel like if Oliphant kept second, it would be an easy decision for the steward to say, "Oh well, just switch it back," and do that decision immediately, so that it's all fine for the TV interviews. But because Sutton was there, it was all a bit weird.
Yeah.
But it's okay because Ingram got his just deserved by picking out position number 12 on the reverse grid.
Yeah.
He did.
Tom Oliphant, though, I think he did brilliant in that race because he had
Me
full
too.
ballast on. And if you look how badly that affected Turkington all weekend.
Yeah. Mega result. Mega drive. Mega. I don't know any other adjectives really. But
If you look at
Yeah.
Turkington, he only managed to get up to 17th
Mm.
after his disastrous start, and he had no ballast on there.
Yeah.
Ooh, who set the fastest lap in this one?
Josh Cook.
Josh
A
Cook.
return to form.
And they also managed to get 5th. So I
Mm.
thought that was
Which completely passed me by.
well, yeah, fair play to him because he wasn't really anywhere in race 1. To be honest, he wasn't really involved. He was having little battles, but he didn't look quick. So 5th was good going for him.
Oh, I've just noticed something in the results.
Mhm.
But Nick
Yeah.
might have noticed it as well. That's the clue.
Oh dear.
No.
Look
think
who's
so.
in position 18. That's got to be a season best. Sam Smelt. You failed us, Nick, with your Sam Smelt watch.
Yeah. Has he had points? He hasn't, has he?
No, that's still not points, right? But
Yeah.
it's 11 positions ahead of last.
True.
Sam Smelt has got points. I'll have you know he's got 2.
Oh,
He has.
So-
Okay.
Take back your shade. That is
sorry.
he-
That could have been 2:15th or 1:14th, I think.
Probably, yeah.
Oh no, because he could have led a lap and got fastest. Yeah, but we know that didn't happen.
Yeah, I hope he gets up to speed because I think that would
Yeah, me
it would
too.
be very helpful for
Butcher.
to have someone quick with him. But
Yep.
yeah. Elsewhere, well, what was the robot go fourth? But Lloyd in 6 was a good result for him.
Mm.
Moffat, despite driving the complete inside of the track for about 15 laps, ended up
And the
ninth.
gap between him and the car in front was like massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. He managed to hold on to 9th. Goff was 11th again, and Butcher only managed 14th after his run in with Jack.
But he had the run in. Yeah, that could have been P12 or something like that.
And Tom Chilton managed to get himself a few points in 13th after his disastrous season.
Dire qualifying
Yeah.
session.
But yeah, I was surprised about Turkington not really making any progress because Sheridan got back up to 21st as well, so not really much happened down there. And Hill did get back out on track, but it was 2 laps down after his puncture.
Yeah.
Yeah, Turkington 17th is a weird one, isn't it?
Mm.
It was like that weekend, he wasn't really going anywhere,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No.
which is a bit worrying for him. But race 3, reverse grid. As you say, I think he pulled out P11.
P12.
P12 at that. So Adam Morgan was on pole.
Lucky man. 'Cause I thought he had been nowhere all weekend, to be honest, to this point.
Yeah. I think both those car gods, Sicily run BMWs, must have been a bit struggling at Brands Hatch Indy. But well, cometh the hour, cometh the person, or something.
Yeah. He got a great start as well. Senna Proctor got a shocker, he dropped back.
Unfortunately, the northern lad.
Yeah. But Morgan, the first few laps, had a few lockups, which
Yeah.
we're thinking, is he going to panic? Like,
Yeah, Stephen Jelly.
Stephen Jelly at the last round, where he just crapped himself for being at the front. But he got it under control and had a pretty dominant win after that, to be honest. Didn't really see him at all.
Not bad for the sponsors, but good for the sponsors.
Yeah, you win the race, but no one sees you win it. And then Plato gets a decent start and he gets himself up to 4th. And then there's a huge queue of cars behind, like about 12 cars all in a row following each other for quite a while. The only really move that was happening for a few laps in the middle of it was Jake Hill made a quite a brave move up the inside of Bordley coming out of Graham Hill. He was 2 wheels on the grass and everyone boldly shoved him right
yeah.
over, and then he
Oh,
kept his foot in it and managed to get
Kept
past.
it pinned.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a bit of movement near the front because I think Goff ran wide, didn't he,
Mm.
early on? So Moffat went to P2. But then later in the race, Goff made it past again. So finally made it past Moffat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it only took 2 races.
He got past. Ollie,
Pretty clean as well.
Ollie Jackson's bonnet then flips up. Which
Was amazing.
I don't know why that
'Cause I swear
happened.
for a lap he's still flat out.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
still going because I think you can just about see.
Yeah.
So he's driving around with his bonnet up, and eventually pits. And as he's trying to pit, I think Shedden hits the back of him.
Oh, yeah.
As he slows down, Shedden gives him a bump.
Oh, man. It's an eventful race weekend for Shedden.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's a shocker.
but yeah, again, Shedden didn't really make too much progress. And then we see spots of rain on the camera. And
Yes.
start to get all excited. It's going to pour
It's
down.
like Formula 1.
Yeah, there's going to be
Mhm.
rain, and well, no, it didn't come anything.
Towards the end, Plato and Moffat got together, didn't they?
Yeah.
I feel like Moffat could have spun there, but he held on and it was all good. I wrote down here, ha 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 ha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But-
Don't know
It's
why.
probably a bit of afters from the last race as well, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
yeah. You see Plato lifts off the brakes and it clearly is and hits him deliberately.
Yeah.
But and it was close for them if a drag race the line, but Moffat just manages to hold on.
Oh, and earlier in the race, Shedden went sideways at Clearways, but on his own.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's when
so-
Jackson's bonnet went up, wasn't it? Because he then hit Shed. sideways.
I didn't see that. So that's why his bonnet was up. I was wondering why it was up.
Yeah.
Oh, run that by me again, sorry.
When Shedden went sideways, Jackson tapped him. which
Oh,
is
when
what I
Shedden's
think-
recovering.
Yeah, and that's why I think his bonnet come up.
That's why you're the BTCC correspondent. Or expert, should I say. Good shout. Didn't notice that.
And then,
But that's basically it for race 3 for me.
yeah, we see
Yeah,
Jade
pretty much.
Edwards and Rick Parfitt fighting again into Druids, or I think Edwards got past. And then by the end of the race, Parfitt's back ahead. So I think those two just fought all weekend.
Yeah, I thought Jade was a bit disappointing this weekend
I would say
compared
that.
to the speed she showed last race or
Yeah.
last meeting. She was pretty much back of the grid this one.
The only thing I'd say there is Brands Hatch Indy is a curious track.
True.
It's very, very unique. So let's not judge her so far. I know that you weren't anyway, right? You were just saying it on this
Oh
one
no,
round.
I was just saying.
Yeah.
I didn't mean.
I
that
would agree.
negatively. I think she's better than that. Is what I mean.
Yes. No, I'm fully. You were very clear, and I was just being an idiot.
I did think Jake Hill actually had a good last race though, because him, Turkington, and Shedden were all very close.
Yep.
But Hill started a long way back from those two.
Yeah, and he
think
finished
he
ahead of
made
them
up
as well.
Something like 10 places, and the other two made up 3 or 4.
Yep. And according to the British Touring Car website, Roy Butcher finished first.
Yes.
He
did
finished
get
7th.
fastest lap.
Yeah, that's probably confused him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's some weirdness going on with that. Yeah.
Although he didn't get fastest lap at all, that's nonsense.
Oh, is it?
If you look at the actual times, there's people doing quicker times than him, even though they've
Oh, yeah.
highlighted it. Oh,
It's the wrong lap time.
I see what they've done. They've said he's did a lap extra, so they've put him at the top. Someone's typed in 25 instead of 24.
Yeah, that is weird.
Come on, guys, get it together. Hamilton ends up 2 laps down, but I didn't see why he had to pit or anything.
Oh, I didn't
Oh
even
yeah, I did see why he had to pit, but not what caused it. He had massive front end damage on the car,
All right.
Oh, really?
but I didn't see an instant. It just, yeah, it looked like he ploughed into a wall almost. But I don't know if it's someone else's accident or not. I have no idea.
Good call, good spot. Didn't notice that.
If only they
Tom
had,
Chilton went backwards.
Yeah. If only they had a YouTube channel where they could show us all this stuff.
Yeah, honestly. Oh, don't. What is the harm? Right, no, I'm going to say this. What is the harm? Oh, I've unplugged my headphones. I'm so excited. So I can't hear what your guys are saying.
You've got to-
What's the harm?
Go to grab for things when you're all excited. Can't help yourself.
I can't. I talk with my hands. Yeah. of a week after an event, putting up the best of an onboard compilation from those judiciary cameras that got, they're not their best quality, but the last couple of years I think the Dunlop YouTube channel used to do a few of those. So why can't there be a few of those compilations of British Touring Car 1? It's not going to prevent me from buying the DVD or the digital download or from going to see it live or watching it on ITV. It's a supplementary thing that gets me more engaged. And what's the harm of occasionally, sometimes, please, a best of Team Radio compilation?
Do you think they're recording that though?
Well, probably not. But do you know, there was one round a few years ago where on the opening sizzle bit to the broadcast, they played some Team Radio over the cars, and I thought, oh, so it is possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose they could do it.
So, I think the way it works is basically as soon as Sunday night ends, only ITV does the production and the video editing, and as soon as the Sunday ends, they do not do any more work. That's the arrangement.
Yeah.
So if they have to do these clips, it would have to be done on the Sunday night, and they're probably not got time to do it. So that's probably why we don't get it. That's my theory. Please let us know if I'm wrong. Anyone who's listening. But it would be nice if there's provision to do some extra hours on the Monday to keep the fans engaged in between the races, and also do things where it's like, oh, it's someone's 100th podium, let's have a montage. Oh, it's their 50th race, let's do, like, not even a montage, just like one moment where they won their first race, or they span out, or they had a crash, something like this. So anyway, I'll stop on that.
Yeah, you'd think that at least after the Monday or something, BTCC get handed the footage and ITV go there if you want to do anything more. Here's what you can't do, show, because we paid for this, but if you want to do XYZ, you can.
Yeah.
But
it's like there's very, very strict rules for the teams. They're not allowed to. They can do videos on their own YouTube and social media channels, but they can't include race footage unless I think they have to pay for or only use the footage that ITV supplies them, so not on board and stuff. Bit restrictive for vlogs and behind the scenes, but okay, I'm not too, I don't mind that too much. But I just think some onboard action, some Team Radio action, some just some timely montages from the history would actually help the series.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, if you want to get into it and into it touring cars now, you have to watch it on ITV4 or 3 on a Sunday. It's not an easy series to, like, Formula 1.
To get new fans. Yeah.
Formula 1, I go into Instagram, there's thousands of videos there.
Yeah.
And I know the scale's different, but then you find that from other series you've got videos everywhere on Instagram, YouTube.
The point remains the same, because Formula 1 of all the series should be the one that shares the least, because it's a pay TV sport, and they are reliant on you watching it live. And they're doing highlights videos on the night, the day. They've got the Team Radio, they've got the best of the onboards, and the same for Supercars in Australia, which was the last standing bastion of a similar digital media strategy to British Touring Cars, which also, by the way, has some pay TV and some free to air TV. But this year, they're uploading full races from the archive onto the YouTube from like 10 years ago as like a little bonus,
Yeah.
Gets people more engaged.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably a hesitancy from BTCC that they don't want to risk their ITV deal, because if there was an ITV deal, what they're going to be on Motorsports TV or something like that, and that's
and
that's
they don't want to
disaster.
lose. They don't want to lose the revenue, I'm assuming, or the deal they've got with Duke Media for the DVDs and digital downloads. But if you do it in a right way, I don't think you impact those. If anything, you enhance those.
Yeah, agree.
Because you end every video with an end card that says, buy the DVD now, link below for the pre-order, or watch on ITV next weekend, or there's a link to buy tickets to the live show. You can do stuff.
Yeah.
All right. This is a long podcast, and that was a long run. But I got another thing that's related, because I mentioned Supercars, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Unless you want to mention something, Colin, there. Sorry, have I jumped ahead?
No, I was just going to run through the championship standings.
Go for it.
Sutton's ahead by 3 points, ahead of Ingram on 1-6. Then you're way back to Cook, who's on 90. And then
I'm so surprised he's still in third, though.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It's a weird one, right?
And then you've got to go a long way back, 39 points behind Sutton, to find Turkington. And then it's getting a bit closer from there on. You've got Hill, Oliphant, Robot and Plato.
I'm surprised Hill's still kind of up there with his bad luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you're actually getting towards a point where you're counting a lot of people out. I mean,
Well, Butcher in 10th is disappointingly far down.
yeah, and Shedden in 12th is done, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's a fair point.
I mean,
Well,
you're looking at everyone outside the top 6. You're starting to think, oh, where are they going to have an amazing weekend?
how many points behind is Shedden then?
Shedden is
Yeah.
63 points behind.
Wow, that was good maths. No calculator involved for Colin there. That's too far, but it's not over just yet.
No, but there's
no.
a gap opening at the top, and it's getting hard to see how a Dan Rowbottom could catch up at this point. Things like that.
I think
The
if
fault
carries on. He's sort of pushing himself towards title contention, but you can't see him being allowed to compete with Turkington over the season.
Yeah.
But then if he outperforms him,
What can you do? I mean,
yeah.
Colin will bounce back in the next round. It'll be fine.
I'll do my best.
True, definitely.
Oh yeah.
So you've got a big bit of news you want to talk about, Tom?
Well, the Supercar series in Australia, which has been going through a bit of a political mare over the last couple of years, is up for sale. Do you want to buy it?
I can give you
My big bit of news is
60 quid.
that we're forming a consortium and we're going for it.
Fantastic. When do I let my bank know?
Yeah, never. But someone who is actually doing it is Paul Morris has got a consortium with some guy I can't remember the name of. Mr. Smith. His son races in the series at the minute. Can't remember his first name. Jack Smith is a driver, his dad. Mick Doohan, 5-time MotoGP champion. And Sir Alan Gow, CEO of the BTCC. They're joining together and they could buy the Supercars Championship in Australia. Paul Morris is funny because I think I've sent you guys both a clip of him before, but when he was a driver, he was nominated the dirtiest driver on the grid.
Yeah.
His response was, I need to go take a shower. I thought that was amazing. And he's become like a media thing. Him and another ex-driver, Russell Ingle, who's actually coming back for Bathurst this year, do a good YouTube channel called Enforcer and the Dude. And I just think it's really interesting that Alan Gow is even interested in buying supercars in Australia, and I wonder how that impacts his availability, his time. I suppose if he's only one of 5 people buying it, and he won't they'll probably employ a CEO to run it, so he might not actually be that involved. But either way, it'll be taking up a lot of his time this year to sort that out, I think.
Was he ever involved in the supercars before Toka? Because obviously he's Australian.
Right.
I don't know.
I could be wrong here, but my understanding is, in terms of running the series, no. But he did work with or for or alongside Peter Brock, who's like a legend over there. Sadly now passed away, but he's sort of there. I don't know. For whatever reason, the word Wayne Rooney came to me. That's a poor analogy. He's tantamount to God in Australia, anyways. Peter Brock. And Alan Gow actually worked with him and in the sort of road car business that they had and stuff like this. He also, in the 90s when there was Super Touring in the UK, which was Big British Touring Cars, there was an Australian series, and I believe he didn't run it, but he had a part to play in, or maybe Toka actually ran that series as well for a bit. Then, after that, his involvement, he's been a manager of James Courtney, who's a driver over there, for about 10 years, which I think came to end last year. But he's not involved in running the series, but he's been a manager of one of the drivers over there for many years.
So he has had an interest in it.
Correct.
Say.
Yeah, he's had a foot in the door. He knows about it. He deals with it. Yeah. Sorry, that was a long-winded way of answering your question there. So that's the speculation or interest. Keep an eye on it. There are other people involved. Mark Scaife, who's like the current commentator and former. In my mind, he was like the Michael Schumacher of supercars back in the day. He's also joined together with some sports company, and then someone else, the company that might run TCR Australia over there, is also involved. So it could, it's all up in the air, but it would be weird if Alan Gow is the CEO of BTCC. What is he now? He's a FIA Touring Car Commission head as well, and part owner of supercars. That'd be bizarre, but interesting. He's got enough money clearly to buy it anyway.
Oh yeah.
It's a shame he can't sort out a YouTube channel properly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, that's because I don't want to say too much out of turn, but there's a really good PR agency running the comms, but they also need like some sort of creative marketing agency or something like this to help out. I was going to ask you one more question as well because we're going along. This is to both of you. Did you miss tyre compounds at the British Touring Car Race weekend?
Didn't even notice them. I wasn't even thinking about tyre compounds, so
They weren't there.
that's a positive.
No,
I think that proves that you don't need it.
No,
it was brought up just before the races, and I did think about it, but yeah, I don't think it definitely didn't negatively impact anything.
Race 1 and Race 2 were good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it made race 3 slightly less chaotic than it can be, but that's not a bad thing.
yeah, exactly. Case closed.
get rid of the tyre compounds.
Get a YouTube team on it and get rid of the tyre compounds because I'm only saying it because I care for the series, you know.
Yeah. Bo agrees.
Oh, Bo's very excited in the background.
Yep.
At least I've got 3 supporters.
I think that's a cute wrap up.
It is.
When the dog starts barking.
There was the one other bit of news, wasn't there, about Donington hosting the season opener next year?
Yes.
Got the calendar out very early
Very.
for the hybrid era.
Yeah, hybrid. They've replaced the media day as well with 3 individual test days to give them a chance to get on top of the new cars.
Ah, that's interesting. I missed that.
But yeah, so pretty much. Yeah, there's no new tracks next year. That's right. There's 2 rounds at Fruxton, but we're starting with Donington and then Brands Hatch Indy.
Yep.
Not Kill's a bit earlier in July as well, and then Silverstone's the penultimate race before Brands Hatch Grand Prix.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, well, looking forward to it. It's going to be weird with the hybrid. I'm going to embrace it. It's going to be something new.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, all good. Nothing else to say there. I started a sentence as if I was going to say something more. Completely run out of steam.
Yep. Well, next up it's Alton Park, 31st of July to the 1st of August. So
that's what I was going to say.
Another
There's
big long break.
There's a 2-day test at Alton Park before then.
Ah.
Which would normally be at Snetterton, I think, in the middle of the year, but it's before Alton Park for 2 days. So that's probably why there's a big break as well.
Yeah, so another month to wait for touring cars. That's just, I want it every weekend. Come on. I know it's not possible, but
I know.
120 rounds every single weekend of the year.
It's alright, you've got 7,000 Formula 1 races to keep you interested.
Yeah, so Formula 1 next up, we're at Austria again. And then there's a week break before Silverstone.
I'd love it if it said hashtag Styrian Grand Prix at the exit of Turn 1.
Someone's messed up the signs.
Yeah. And what's the support series? Do you know? I think
I don't know, but it was W Series this weekend, wasn't it? Which was quite
and
interesting.
W Series is next weekend as well.
Oh, okay, right. Nice. I'll watch the YouTube highlights. Oh, just one final thing, because we're going, it's in. Ben Edwards was commentating Formula 1 for Channel 4, which was really good, because Alex Jacks, I think, was isolated. I just went to pick up that good old Ben is around, and he's still the best.
And on a positive note for once.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've not overly slated any of the commentators, of actual praise one here. Thanks again for joining in me, and thanks for downloading. I also managed to make it through 2 hours of talking to 2 Englishmen without hearing the phrase "is coming home." So that's a positive for me. It's the first time today I've heard an Englishman speak without those words coming out his mouth. So thank you very much. So we'll be back next week with the Austrian Grand Prix, which we might just copy and paste the first half an hour of this and replay.
Yeah, well, we've given a bonus podcast this time, so
Yeah, I can't
extra length.
I can't imagine it'll be much different from this one, but fingers crossed a bit more exciting. And we'll see you then.
Yeah, see you then.